Hi guys, welcome back to Replant Freedom 12-2, and our guest for today is my best friend in the whole wide world. Okay, Nikki, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You holding on? You buckled up?
Buckled in, man.
Oh
Strapped.
my, strapped tight, right? Oh my God. So how long have we been friends?
I don't know, since you told me I shouldn't be wearing shorts at school.
You did. You had fucking purple shorts on. Purple shorts. Who?
Okay, well, first of all, I was wearing Sophie's. And back in the day, Sophie's and a t-shirt and some flip-flops was the bomb diggity. Okay?
Yeah, well, not at Manchester. Like, you know, you can't have, you know, like, no anything showing. Like, you can't even have, like, your forearm showing. Like, nothing can be showing, right?
Well, that's a lie. That's a lie. If you wear a skirt and you go without wearing underwear, you know, that's acceptable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cheerleaders. That's right. That too.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. And, you know, one thing I always thought, honestly, about dress code, one thing I always thought was weird about dress codes is boys that wear gym shorts, right? To school. Like, the boys could wear gym shorts. And I never understood why girls couldn't wear capris. Or, like, you could only wear jeans. Or you could only wear, like, long skirts unless you played a sport or cheerleaded or whatever. Like, I never really understood that. Like, literally, boys' gym shorts are just as long as some capris are. It just never made any sense to me.
Well, at Manchester, I think it really just depended on who you were.
Oh yeah, that definitely probably played a big role in it. But you know, when I lived in Alabama, when I was like 13 and 14, Mount Hope, the school I started out at, they weren't real strict. You could wear whatever you wanted. I mean, I have pictures. I mean, it wasn't strict. But now, when I went to Hatton, they were a lot more strict. I don't know. I don't know if it depends on the school district. I know private schools, obviously, most of them you have to wear like certain clothes and things.
Yeah, uniform.
Yeah, and things like that. But you know, honestly, I've never been to a school where you could just like free reign whatever you wanted, especially girls.
Greenfield.
Really? They allow that?
Oh yeah, I could wear whatever I wanted, girl.
Oh, that is. I mean, I guess that makes sense because. I mean,
that's where I came from, and then I came wearing those Sophie shorts, and you're like, you can't wear that here.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Bitch, watch me. Like, what?
Right. I guess that never really, like, crossed my mind. I mean, when we went to that dance or whatever that one time, like, that dance, like, everybody was basically wearing whatever they wanted, and you didn't have teachers walking around like, put your boobies away.
Yeah, that's why everybody was, like, having sex on the dance floor. Like, seriously.
They were pretty raunchy, right? They were really raunchy. Now, was that the, now that I'm an adult, I can talk about this, and not, you know, get in trouble by my mom. So, when we went to that dance, was that the dance that we went to that really lame party, and then we ended up back in Manchester at Stephanie's house?
I think so. Yeah.
Was that all the same night?
I think it was.
Because I've wanted to talk about this.
I remember going somewhere like lame, and we was like, nah, like somebody give us a ride. Like, we're trying to go back to where we from, because this is not it for us.
Right. And then Stephanie, I remember, I could have killed her. She better freaking listen to this. You want to know why? Because that stupid girl, oh my God. Okay, so I'm at that party, right? And you know, even back then I didn't really drink that much, like, because I already knew what the consequences would be. But she suckered me into drinking a Corona. And so I drank just one. And the one beer that I had, she took a picture with me. And I have a beer in my hand, and she posted it on Facebook. No, she didn't. I called her so fast. And I can't remember who sent me the picture. It was somebody. Somebody sent me the picture because I didn't have internet. And I didn't have a smartphone. So somebody sent me texted it to me. And I called her and I said, Stephanie, get that picture down right now. And she's like, what? And I was like, the picture of me holding a beer. Are you trying to get me murdered? And you know what she did? She, oh my God. She blurred my hand out. Like, just blurred my...
I remember that. I think I remember that.
Oh my God. Yeah, like that doesn't make it even more obvious. Really? What is wrong with you? Like, actually wrong with you? To think that, like... And luckily, my mom never found out about that until right now. And so in this moment. See, I didn't really party that much in school. I mean, I went with my friend Lexi and I got caught doing that. And I didn't even get slaughtered. She got slaughtered. She was like puking over the toilet and stuff. But I never really drank that much in high school because I knew if I got in trouble that the consequences would be severe. So I never really pushed the limit. I can't really think. I did, I snuck out a lot when I was like living in Alabama. But for the most part, I mean, I can't think of...
When you're living in Alabama, like with your mom or with your ex?
No, whenever I was living in Alabama, like when I was younger. Like, when I was, like, 14. Yeah, I snuck... Oh, my God. I hate you. No. Why would I have to sneak out of my own house as an adult?
I mean, situations, man.
Oh, my God. No. So, good thing Taylor doesn't listen to this. He's going to start assuming, So, no, I snuck out a couple of times, and then when I moved back, the thing is that people would stay at my house, and everybody would sneak out of the house to meet other guys in town, which we've talked about that before. And so people would stay at my house to sneak out, but like I never really went. And honestly, you really didn't party that much. Like you went to parties, but you didn't get like hammered every weekend like a lot of people did.
Right. Yeah, no, I just went to watch. Like I was more of a people watcher. And I was there to like basically have my friends' backs. Because everybody's shady.
No, yeah. Now when I graduated, that was a whole nother story. Nikki, the stupid crap we did, I do not know. Oh, and why was Stephanie always in the bad moments? Why would
I don't know. It was always me, you, and her. Like, we was always the trio.
I know.
She always had to hook up to where we could go. And I had the car until I didn't have the car.
Yes, but every single... Oh, my gosh. You remember when we broke?
Broke my car?
Yes, you broke your car.
Yeah, I remember when we broke my car.
Well, you ran over a duck. Was it a duck or was it a goose? Like, you thought you could straddle it?
It was a duck.
Okay, yeah, well, you can't straddle ducks.
Nope, I decapitated it.
Yeah, that was really, that was graphic. And then you would get mad at me whenever I would stop in the middle of your driveway to move frogs. Like, you were like, what the hell's wrong with this person? Like, why is she stopping to move a frog?
At least my mom was happy about it.
Yeah, like, they're just little frogs. But no, seriously, every party that we went to, that there was some type of, like, bad scenario that would happen, Stephanie would be there. Every time.
She kept us on our toes.
I know, but, like... And she would always get the butt end of it, like that fight. You know, I was down there and I was in the middle of a fight, and then you jumped in, and then Stephanie tried to jump in, and then she gets punched in the face by a grown man. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was bull crap.
Right. That was bad. She was.
Yeah, that never.
She was mad. I thought she was going to kill someone.
But in reality, I think somebody was starting crap with her. Did they throw beer on her?
Well,
because they lost at ball or something stupid.
Well, there was two girls down there, and I know what they look like. I can picture their faces or whatever, but I do not know their names. And they were down there and they were just fighting. And I was like, all right, okay, well, this girl's done lost her weave. All right, this girl done lost a tampon. So I'm gonna go down here and break this up, right? And just doing my civil drunk duty. And went down there and was like trying to pull them apart because everybody else is just thinking it's hilarious. Well, this ratchet girl turned around and tried to punch me. She tried to punch me. She was too drunk and she fell over a chair. Well, I guess one of her friends in the background thought I was trying to jump her. And she grabbed me by the head of the hair and I turned around and I just started just wailing into her, just beating the living crap out of her. And I have no idea who that girl is today. I still don't even know what she looks like. No idea.
Well.
And then you saw it, I think, and you were like, what's going on? What's going on? And so I think Stephanie saw your midget ass get down there. So she's like, oh, we can't leave the midget. Like, we have to get down there and do this.
I can't help it. Both of you are taller than me, okay?
And she, like, tries to, like, I don't know, like, skydive down, like, this big ramp, like, step thing. Because that house had, like, a step up to the next level or whatever.
Like where the pool table was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she, like, tries to, like, fly over everyone with their long giraffe legs. And same, honestly. And like, she gets held back by her idiot ex-boyfriend and then like punched in the face. Like, some dude just walks up to her for no reason and just punches her right in the face.
Yeah. And then he didn't even let her go. Like, what?
It was almost like a setup now that I think about it. Like, it's like he wanted it to happen. Like, it did.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you hold her arms back? I mean, I would see holding her back so that she didn't get in a fight. But the second you see that your girl gets hit in the face, like,
let her go.
Let her go.
Let her handle it.
Or you handle it. No.
Right.
Right. Like, oh my God, he was an idiot. Such an idiot. Good thing Donnie's not, right? Maybe he'll listen to this and he'll be like, thanks for the, the perk here. I mean, he's still kind of a dumbass, but he's not as stupid as his brother. Yeah, I never understood that party. Like, that was such a blur. Oh my God. That whole scene. What was that? That was probably like in just one summer, I would think.
Probably.
I think it was my senior year, and then I graduated. Because was I living at Peggy's? Or was I living at Pam's?
I think you were living at Pam's.
Oh, I was living at Pam's, wasn't I? Because I had my Sunfire.
Yes.
Yes. And we could
Shortly
take
after.
it. Yeah, we couldn't take that anywhere because it was so loud.
Right.
Yeah. There was no, quiet about that car, so we never really took it very many places. But yeah, like that whole scene right there, I only remember like little bits and pieces of that time. Like, it's like gone. Like, that's what I don't understand too about like high school, like how all of these like teen girls and teen guys, they can like, one, I don't understand how their parents allow it. And number two, like, I understand let your kids like experiment and like have fun or whatever, but to the extent where your kid is out every weekend getting like just belligerent drunk all the time, like, and this includes Taylor. Like, I don't understand how they even remember any part of their high school years, because Taylor even tells me, like, he stayed like so gone his entire high school years that like he really doesn't remember a lot of it. And like, that would be, I thought I had a boring high school years, but at least I remember mine. At least like I had a job, I had some friends, like I had sleepovers, I remember a little bit of things. But I mean, you're basically taking your kid's childhood away from them when you don't give them some type of supervision, when you just let them free reign like that. I just don't get it.
Like, I don't think any moment really stands out to you of when something happens. Like, you vividly remember that night because that was like an unusual event. And for some people, that's like an everyday thing.
Yeah, and I guess that's just, I don't know, it's just so odd to me. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I was raised in such a strict household. And I mean, obviously my mom knows I was really resentful for a long time because I thought she was too strict. And in some ways she really was too strict. But in a lot of ways, like into my adulthood, like it actually, I guess maybe grounded me a little bit in a way. Like, it gave me something to look at as an example, right? Not necessarily that the discipline itself really did much. It was more that the structured environment. When kids aren't raised in a structured environment, that's when chaos ensues. Maybe not in the moment, but into their adulthood, right? So when you just let your kids roam free and just do whatever they want and have nothing to answer for, you're setting them up for massive adulthood failure. Bad adulthood failure. But, I mean, you know, and your mom was really strict in some ways, too.
Yes, in some ways.
Yeah, your mom was pretty strict with a lot of things that, you know, you did. And, like, you had a curfew.
Yep, and I couldn't be a minute later. She locked the door.
Right. So you had a curfew at least. There's a lot of kids that didn't even have, you know, a curfew. I mean, the worst you ever got was whenever you got in trouble. At that one time you got in trouble in high school. And in reality, like, it really wasn't that bad, you know. No, I mean, I think all kids get in trouble at some point in their life, but I think it really just comes down to if you're willing to actually parent or not. And I just feel like a lot of parents, I saw this really funny tweet today, and I don't get on Twitter very often. I just set up an account not too long ago, and I saw this really funny tweet. It's like, you can't hurt my feelings. I went to high school with a bunch of teenage girls whose moms bullied teenage girls. And I was like, oh, if that's not true life. Like, some of the worst bullies in high school were teachers and parents. And that's why their kids are still the way that they are. They're brats.
Yes, and entitled. So entitled.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's like, you know, you go to high school to learn, and it feels like when you're there, at least this, guys, just so you know, this is like our experience. Of course, not everybody's experience is this way, but in our experience, which I think you guys will hear a little bit more about it later, because I talked to somebody else too about this kind of same situation, and it's kind of like, where do these little small towns draw the line between like a favorite child? Like, where does the line get drawn? When did the teachers step in and are like, all right, enough's enough, and somebody actually does something? Because it's so unfair that like kids get kicked off of teams and another kid did the same thing, right? Or you're not from that town, so you don't get played at the games. Or, you know, one student can turn things in late and another can't. Things like that. And where does a line get drawn? When do you realize that, like, a lot of the teachers in small towns specifically, they're actually the huge issue that's at large here? Because they create their own abuse. They're abusing the kid too and giving them damage. Like, Xander talked about it, like when I did a live, which you don't have Facebook, but Xander Rolich, like, he still deals with trauma from high school. Bad trauma. You should not have to go to therapy 6 years later after you graduate high school because kids and teachers were so cruel. That's just beyond me. I just don't get it. You weren't bullied though, really.
No, it was more like just the petty comments and the petty looks.
Yeah, that was just because you were pretty. You know that, right?
Yeah, and it's also because I came in knowing the hottest guy at the school on my very first day.
Oh, God. Oh, lucky you.
Right. Oh, yeah. I was so happy about it.
Right. It was the most exciting thing that's ever ensued into your life, you know? I just, you know, I will honestly say you probably got more hate thrown at you in high school than when it came to like slut shaming, when it came to like just assumptions or just gossip. I mean, right off the damn bat. I mean, you were at that school for 5 minutes and people were trying to pick a fight with you.
I know.
Like, not even like 22 seconds you weren't at that school. And like...
I mean, I'm sure it didn't help that I came out in dress code, but, you know, if somebody would have told me dress code.
Well, so, what... I mean, Bud has lived there his whole life. You would think he would know.
No. Didn't say nothing.
Well, he's a dumbass.
We know that.
What the hell? But, yeah, I think you probably got it with the worst. Whether it be what you were wearing, everybody was always so nosy. Like, who's she talking to? Like, guy-wise or something? Or,
yeah.
It was, like, but nobody even tried to really, like, hone in and, like, really, like, be your friend, because when they did try to be your friend, like, they just got jealous for whatever reason. I don't know, because when you were so much younger than me, like, we would see each other on the bus, but our friendship didn't really, like, blossom until we started working together at Frisch's. So, like, before that, like, all I know was that, like, I always heard it. Like, I always heard people, like, questioning your morality, your sense of self, and I never got it, I guess. And I don't think it was just you. I think there was this girl too, and your situation reminds me so, I think her name was Loretta. Maybe that was her name. And she got a lot of hatred too, because she came to the school and she was a great track runner. I mean, just blew people out of the waters. And it was like an undeniable talent, and she was gorgeous. And she was mixed. And so she had 3 rarities right there that got her a lot of attention.
Definitely.
And she wasn't there for very long. I would say she was there about a year. And she got a lot of hatred as well. But, like, your 2 stories line up. It's like when the new kid comes, right? Let's just pick on them. And
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, from your perspective, like, what do you think Adams County or Manchester Local School District could have done differently for you to make your life easier?
I mean, they probably could have at least, like, had me introduce myself. Like, then no class ever asked me to introduce myself. And it was, like, my freshman year. You know, like, you're going into high school as a new 9th grader. You know, like, everybody already looks at it like fresh meat. Oh, whatever, let's pick on them, make their life hell. But nobody even asked me to introduce myself or, like, where I was from, what my past entailed. None of that.
Really?
Like, yeah, no. They never did. Like, my first class was actually with, you know, the hot guy. And I was a freshman in a senior's class because I was already in advanced classes prior to coming. And they didn't know where to put me because they didn't really run classes like that there. And they never, ever asked me to stand up and introduce myself.
Yeah, I guess where I grew up there, I left, came back, people still knew who I was, right, when I came back. So that wasn't really like a necessity, right? So that really, I guess that's not something I ever really noticed. Like, yeah, I mean, I could see why, because, like, you'd just be sitting there and you're just like, is anybody gonna talk to me? Like, Is anybody not going to talk to me? Is the first person that walks up and talks to me, are they going to like be an asshole or like punch me in the face, or are they going to be really nice? Like, yeah, like that is super weird. I guess I never really thought of it that way. All right, Manchester, you heard it. When you get a new kid, introduce them like they do at college, okay? They do that in college. They do where they walk you around the school, you meet your professors, you meet people that are going to be in your class, so you're comfortable being in dorm or being on campus, right? How about you guys take the same action and do the same thing? How about that? Yeah, I doubt it. That's probably not going to help. They're probably just going to hear this and I'm going to get another death threat, I'm sure. That's probably what's going to end up happening. But yeah, I mean, actually, that is a really good idea. I mean, but you see, I guess probably, Maddie is going to be a teacher. And I feel like that's something Maddie would think to do. But I feel like there's not a lot of kids at Adams County. There's not a lot of kids in Manchester local school district. There's really not. So the excuse that, you know, they're overwhelmed and they've got all this stuff going on, like that's just not really a good excuse to like not check in, right? And I felt like that's really what they lacked, was checking in, not just on their favorite, but checking in on the new kid or checking in on the kid that you knew had a bad home life. Like you knew it, right? There was some teachers there that did an amazing job at that. Miss Applegate was one of them. She was amazing at checking in with kids and making sure that they were good. But a lot of the kids there, I mean, they struggled really bad. And I mean, honestly, the school board has to take some accountability for that. And honestly, and I hate to say this, I'm not trying to offend anybody that's listening, but it really does surprise me that a lot more kids haven't committed suicide at that school. Now that I know what I know and how bad the kids were treated by other students, and a lot of people knew about it and never did anything, and the trauma that they still face today, not just one or two people, like a lot of kids that are now adults still suffer. I don't understand how they don't have a lot of like suicide, or even worse than that, like a lot more kids just not show up. Like, why would you want to show up at a place like that that's not understanding, that doesn't care about you at all when you're there?
Well, I think that's why they have so many drop out as soon as they come of age.
What is the come of age in Ohio?
Once you're 18, you can sign yourself out of school.
Oh no, I meant like get out of school, like get your GED or whatever. What is that? What age is that?
18, I think. Maybe as soon as 17 even.
Oh, well, at least in Alabama, I think it's 15 and a half or 16. You can legally drop yourself out and get your GED.
I don't know. I remember Stephanie's brother was one of those people who, like, as soon as he came of age, went and literally signed himself out and dropped out. But he also wasn't, like, a popular kid, and, you know, he was different.
Oh, you're talking about Neil?
Having a really hard time.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I mean, but Neil was always a sweet kid. You know?
Yes.
He was always such a sweet kid. And I think a lot of people he was one of them. People were pretty mean to him, you know, and weren't very nice. But, you know, a lot of the kids don't get enough credit because they do so much at home too. And then like take care of their parents or grandparents or whatever. And sometimes they're siblings, and then they go to school and they get treated like crap. And
they're more concerned about just looking good. Like they want their star athletes who make the paper to be in the healthiest mindset than anybody else.
Oh, yeah. Why do you think they pushed the, when the basketball players went to, I don't know, did you go to, you were at Manchester when we went to that big championship, right?
Yeah, the Conda.
Yeah, that's what it was called. because you get more funding. Like, you get sponsors and stuff for uniforms and all of this kind of stuff. And I get that. I understand that. But just because if you can't offer every kid something to have an extracurricular in, whether that be chess, if you can't offer that, don't take away from it in a way of abuse, because that's basically what I'm saying. Is a lot of the school systems are abusive to kids. I just want to make that very clear to everybody that's listening or will listen. You really need to step up your game, because if you can't include everyone, then what's the point? If you can't reach out and help every child succeed, then what's the point? I mean, you're failing them, just like their home life is failing them. So what do you expect is going to happen when they turn 18? I mean, you can't expect them to just have a 2.5 or 2.0, barely graduate, and then go off to be a billionaire.
Right.
I mean, that's unrealistic here. If you're not giving every child an opportunity to succeed, then you're failing, period. And maybe that's radical. Like, I get told all the time that I'm just radical about it. But you have to offer every single child an opportunity to be involved in something, period, or you're failing. And I really noticed that with you. I really noticed, because you didn't really play sports. Like, you did softball, but you weren't a huge sport person, right?
I chose work.
Yeah. And that's really, I mean, I really enjoyed work too, but Madison was that way. She didn't want to be in that genre, in that area. I played sports to help me focus and get some of my energy out, but I really liked being on a team.
At one point, the cheer coach actually completely approached me about being on the cheerleading team because I looked like a cheerleader, she said.
That's odd. Somebody looks like a cheerleader? So if you're ugly, you can't cheerlead?
I guess. That was the exact words. Because I went to her and approached her about the gymnastics, because I've always been more into that.
Yeah.
The gymnast. And she was like, oh yeah, and if you do that, you could be a cheerleader. You look like a cheerleader. And at one point, we were even in the hallway of school, in between my classes, and she made that same comment, you look like a cheerleader.
That's a very odd statement. That's weird. But that doesn't surprise me at all. Not even a little bit. And I think that's, there was a lot of sweet people that were on the cheerleading squads and stuff, not just at Manchester, but same thing would happen at other schools. You would have these really, really good cheerleaders or whatever, and they didn't feel like they were wanted there. Yeah. Or whatever the situation may be, and then it brought their self-esteem down completely. They didn't have a self-esteem anymore because of how the other cheerleaders treated them, and the coach didn't stand up and say anything. And I will tell you this right now, PJ Wagner, he was a hard coach, but he was very, very good at not picking favorites. I will tell you that right now. He was very, very good at not picking favorites, and he was very, very good at, I guess, separating himself. Not getting too involved in our lives, but involved enough that he cared. I mean, so I feel like a line needs to be drawn somewhere. You're their coach. You're not their friend, right? You're their mentor. And I just find that so weird that a coach would just, you look like a cheerleader. What kind of statement is that? What? That's so odd. I mean, and I also, guys, want to talk about for a second, since we're on the topic of high school, I want you guys to leave some comments at the bottom if you want. Have any of you guys ever which I know you have, but ever experienced slut shaming specifically in high school? I never did. I can personally say I never did. But I know that a lot of kids have suffered in high school from that specifically. And that is a big, if it's still going on, how many years have I been graduated? Almost 10. If we're in 2020 now, I graduated in 2012. If that is still going on and is still an issue, that only leads back to one thing, Nikki. The school. They don't care. So I don't understand. I don't know. I have ventured down this for way too long, and I don't know how to help anyone fix it. And everybody asks me what they think should be done. And I really couldn't tell you. I mean, you went to a different school. I mean, how does Greenfield do it?
See, I don't know, because Greenfield knew me as a different person. So they wouldn't ever, use my name in that way.
Right. But, I mean, how old were you when you moved to Greenfield? Because I know you lived in Columbus, right?
I did.
Okay, so how old were you?
But I was in a Greenfield district middle school.
Oh, okay.
So I started my middle school, and then I left. Well, I was in a Greenfield district elementary school at my late elementary years. So I did elementary and middle school in this one school district and left my high school year.
And Greenfield's not a huge school.
It's twice the size of Manchester.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's a good size.
Graduating class was 200 people.
Okay, so if you would have graduated from the school in Columbus, let's pretend for a second, how big was that school?
Probably double the size of Greenfield.
Okay, so you've been to all three types. Which would you prefer?
I prefer the middle. I prefer definitely the 200 graduating class.
See, that's about what Taylor did. That's about what his was.
There's more diversity.
Yeah, and that's one thing I did like about you a lot whenever I first met you, was how unapologetically, not just yourself, but forthcoming. You weren't extremely judgmental. And I think that probably came from the childhood that you had as a child, like a little kid. And then you kind of progressively went to a different school, and then even a smaller school. We didn't have a high crime rate in the school specifically. We had a lot of crime rate on the outside of the school. But I think your childhood really equipped you for the job that you do now. I really think that, because where you used to live when you were a kid was rough.
Yes.
That's a rough place, guys. That's not for the weak, all right? Not at all. And so, yeah, I thought living in Norwood, Cincinnati was hard. I could not imagine being a child and walking home from school. But I do believe that lifestyle probably equipped you to not be judgmental. Really. And a lot of people don't learn that until later in life, until they're way into adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Have you ever looked at it that way?
I kind of have, yeah. I think that it definitely helped me become who I am.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's the thing that upset me too in high school, is that people never gave you a chance to explain yourself. They never really asked you who your mom was. Really, only thing they ever cared about was that, you
I was living in the Waterson's house.
Yeah, that's really all people really cared about. They never really asked you, like, where you were from. Like, you know, do you see your dad? Like, who's your dad? They didn't
find out who I was until I finally put my foot down over that bullying situation.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, that couldn't have been easy on you, but, you know, I know it wasn't easy on James either. On your brother. And I'm going to reach out to that little shit. And he's going to answer me. Because I'll show up at his house. And be like, oh, what are you doing? Why aren't you answering me? Okay? Like, you don't get to ignore me. I'm Emily. Okay? And, you know, he had it pretty rough, too, at that school. And that's not my story to tell. But he had it very, very rough. And a lot of people weren't nice to him. Because when he came to... He was so young, Nikki. He was a tot. And he was so, like, different. Soft, but he was different, too. Like, he was, you know, he had gauges. And I remember him wearing those purple skinny jeans. And those ugly freaking Vans. And, like, he was unique in his own way, but I don't think he ever got a chance to form his personality there either. And when he finally did, it was stripped from him. And I feel like if he wants a chance, he can talk about it because, you know, I feel like it would really do him some good.
I think that also goes back to the labeling situation. Like, people just started to label who he was.
Yeah, he never got a chance to define himself. And that's what I really feel like Adams County needs to work on, is just letting kids adventure and be friends with who they want to be friends with, and just sit back and relax and be there for them when they mess up or when they succeed, instead of trying to micromanage everything. And
the thing that's crazy about them labeling my brother, though, is like, he was one hell of an athlete. Like, he was one hell of a fucking athlete, dude.
Oh, and my God, he was.
They literally ruined his love for basketball. Like, that boy could have gotten a scholarship anywhere if he would have not gotten, I guess, talked down to as much as he did in basketball, all because his last name wasn't what they wanted it to be. And like, it wasn't somebody that everybody already knew.
And see, I was an amazing athlete. I'll give myself a shout out on that. I was an amazing athlete. I only played sports because it gave me a venting section. It wasn't that I cared that much about how much I got played. And I knew I wouldn't go on forever and like play pro or anything. I really just did it just to do it, just to have fun, right? To get out of my house, hang out with my friends, and just do something. But when you do have a kid that does have a talent, like James did, and like Loretta, right? I'll tell her I'm going to message her when we get off here. Like Loretta, when you choose to put other athletes before other athletes just because of somebody's last name, that really sets them back. That's what I'm talking about with opportunity. Giving them all the same opportunity to succeed. And you're right. I mean, and your brother has an odd last name and you have an odd last name. And so they're unique to remember. But I think I don't like to pull this card very often, but I feel like when you first moved to the school, I think people started to racially profile you by your last name.
Oh, absolutely. They all thought I was Spanish. I'm not Spanish. My brother's last name is Spanish, but mine is not.
Yeah,
very, very Italian.
Very, very Italian. Like, making our own butter in the backyard, Italian. And Aries is what? It's French. Spanish.
Yeah. So, the man that raised him was a Mexican.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of. I think he was like quarter or more. He might have been like 3/4, maybe.
Yeah, and so I felt like a lot of that went on, and that's not a card I like to pull very often, but I really feel like that was a big issue that went on, was that you were instantly off the bat, because your last name, you're racially profiled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's one thing I will say, I'm fearful.
Well, it's also my first name. I mean, my first name is different.
Yeah.
Like, at least my brother had like a normal name. My entire name is different.
Nicoletta Francesca Maenza, if you guys were wondering, to keep the curiosity not alive here. Yes, and you know, you were different. I mean, you really were different. Your brother had gauges, okay?
Well, you also, I remember now, you, your cousin, your sister, your brother, like all of you claimed that we had an accent.
Oh, you did though. A really bad northern accent.
But I don't, like, you know, I obviously wouldn't recognize that, but I really, like, can't put my hands on exactly how I talked.
Like, you don't talk that way anymore, and I don't know, maybe it is that I'm so mixed cultured now from where I've traveled so much. So, like, you had a very, and even me and Luke's talked about this before, you had a very Canadian style voice. And the only reason I pinpoint it to that is when I lived in Montana, is some of the phrases or like essence of your words that sounded very Canadian, like the g, like they said instead of bag, it was bag, and like garbage bag. And it was just very like enunciated, like your words were almost French-like, and like Canadian French like combination, and that probably got you profiled too, to be honest with you.
I mean, probably, because I swear you guys would always say, you both have an accent, like, where are you from? And we're like, literally Ohio.
Like literally.
What do you mean?
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah. And you know, my mom's like, oh, that's so funny that you say that, because Luke came home and like Luke and James hit it off right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
And instantly. Okay. And he came home and he said, I'll never forget this. He said, I met this new kid at school, and my mom's like, really? And he's like, yeah, he lives right up the road. He rides my bus. And my mom's like, oh, who is he? And he was like, his name's James. And he was like, I think he's from another country. And my mom said, what? And he was like, he's like, yeah, he's got a weird accent, a weird voice. And my mom said, maybe he has a speech impediment. And Luke said, no. It's almost like them British guys. And I will never forget that. And then I had to talk to him the next day, right? I had to figure out if this kid was actually from another country or not. And I didn't know you two were siblings. I had no idea, right? Because the first day you went home. And so, did you go home?
Yeah, they took me home.
Yeah, you
went. Change your clothes.
Like, I had no idea, because this was like literally the first day. And so I went and I sat down beside Luke, and I was talking to your brother or whatever, and I can't remember what we were talking about. And I looked over at Luke and I said, you're an idiot. I said, he's not British. He's like, I didn't say he was British. I said he had like a British accent. And I was like, what? No, he doesn't. And I was like, but he does have it. You guys did have a really, really thick accent, but you guys don't anymore. That's for sure. And you know, Taylor's has weared off a lot since we've lived in the North. A lot. Like, he doesn't have that super Southern accent anymore either. Yeah, and you know, Jake, the first time I ever heard him talk, I thought he had a Southern accent. And he's from freaking Greenfield. Like,
yeah.
What have you been watching? You've been watching too much, like, Joe Dirt or something.
Actually, he's probably guilty of that.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, you remember when I used to call Bud, what did I call him? An ugly Joe Dirt? Or what did I say?
Yeah, it had something to do with Joe Dirt.
A fat Joe Dirt or something. I can't remember.
I don't know, but he never had a comment back to it.
No, never. I knew I could shut him up. Or I would always say, when are you going to die so Rachel will get that life insurance policy? And he would just shut up instantly. He had nothing to say from that. And, you know, it takes a lot to make Bud not talk. But But when you can get him to shut up, it's the best feeling in the world. like actually the best feeling. Oh my God. And, you know, I've tried to get your mom to come on, but she hasn't yet. So she's going to get a kick out of this one. She's going to be like, yes, this is hilarious. I think that we, you know who we need to get on here with us? Stephanie.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a hoot. That would be...
Today's her birthday.
No.
Yeah, today is her birthday.
I'll have to message her and wish her happy birthday. Well, guys, I am going to close this off because my computer is about to go dead and we don't need to lose all of this. So I am going to end the conversation and tell you guys that I hope you have a wonderful day or evening or month whenever I actually upload this. Who knows? Just remember that you have a voice and speak it and educate yourself. Please educate yourself and talk. If you're a parent and you're listening to this, make sure your kid's good at school. Like, seriously. I mean, because I can promise you that depending on where you are, they don't care. And they're not checking out for your kid. And if anything, that show 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, 100%.
It's not... The demographic I'm not necessarily a fan of, but it does have a lot of core value to it. And it does play... If anything, if your kid doesn't watch it as a parent, I'm glad I watched it as a parent. So, and my kids are babies. So if you get time, if you have Netflix, you need to watch it. If you don't have Netflix, I'll let you borrow my account just so you can watch 13 Reasons Why. So you can understand fully what you're getting into with a preteen or a regular teenager and kind of like
and
connect.
What they're dealing with.
Yeah, you've really got to, I mean, because the only person that's going to advocate for your kid is you. And if you even suspect just a little bit of something off, if your kid went to a school and was a straight A student and come to this school or a new school and they're failing or they're not doing very well, there's a reason for that. And it's not your kid. Promise you, don't be disciplining your kid for bad grades. It's not your kid. It's something else.
Always try to take your kid to the extracurricular events so that people can see them and see that, like, they're normal too.
Yes.
I feel like that also makes a big difference, especially in these small town schools.
Right. It does. It makes a big difference. You are very lucky, you know, Nikki, that your mom did let you, like, explore and do things like that, you know?
Yes.
Because if not, you would have been, like, extremely isolated. And I mean, don't isolate your kid like that. Like, be your kid's advocate. Like, you're the only person that can do that. I don't care what you have to do to get their attention, do it. Like I've always said, you're the only person that can stand up for your kid. So do it because it'll save their life. All right. Well, I love you guys. Bye.
Hey guys, my name is Tasha Meyerhoff and I started with this new brand called Savvi a few months ago. I started because I really love their mission statement of wanting to empower women and make them more confident. They have something for every body type with sizes from extra small to 3XL. Their workout gear is like nothing I have ever worn before, and their leggings never move or bunch up. They give major compression in all the right areas, and as an added bonus, they are squat proof with no embarrassing panty lines. Not only do they have workout gear, they also have everyday wear that is truly comfortable and flattering. After my 2 kids, this company has given me my confidence back, and I look forward to seeing their new arrivals every week. If you would like more information on this company, please message me on Facebook. Again, my name is Tasha Meyerhoff. That's Meyerhoff. Thanks and have a great day.